Welcome back to the show. Well, we have some exciting news to share with you about the Bytown Museum, and I'm not going to give it away. I'll let my next guest, have all the excitement here. I'm joined by Grant Vogl. He is the Senior Manager of Collections and Exhibitions at the Bytown Museum. Welcome back, Grant.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
So let's start off the exciting news. Share it with our viewers.
Well, as you may know from last year, we had a really short season after being closed for about 2.5 years. So we only opened our doors for about 7 weeks last year, and we were excited to have around 12,000 visitors come through our doors. So we knew people were ready and waiting to do things and ready to come back and see their community museum. So actually last Friday we just opened for the season. So we're all ready to go. We're fully staffed. Everyone's trained up. We have our new summer students here. And so we're super excited to actually have like a full summer season like we would have done back in 2019.
Yeah, and you touched on the fact that it's Ottawa's community museum. Tell us the philosophy of the museum in general.
Sure. So the Bytown Museum was started by the Women's Canadian Historical Society of Ottawa. So they were founded in 1898 and then started collecting. And in 1917 they founded the Bytown Historical Museum. So we used to be in the City Registry building, which is over near Arts Court.
Right.
And then in 1951 we moved into the Commissariat, where we still are today, and it's Ottawa's oldest stone building right at the locks, so a perfect location to kind of tell the Ottawa story.
Yeah, an exciting thing. So let's talk about a couple of brand new exhibitions. You've got two of them. The newest temporary exhibition, this is called City in Flames,
right.
And this is around some really historical fires here in the city of Ottawa, right?
Yeah, so during COVID, we installed one exhibition when we thought we would just be closed for 2 weeks, and then it ended up being 2.5 years, so I was really excited to finally put a new show in that space and give people something new to take a look at in that gallery. So City in Flames is 10 fires that reshaped Ottawa, kind of explores 10 historic fires throughout the city. There's hundreds of fires that we could have chose from, but we tried to pick kind of iconic buildings or iconic locales, places in Ottawa that people would either walk by or could see ruins still. For instance, Colonel By's home up in today's Majors Hill Park was destroyed by fire, so that's one of them that we look at. Of course, there's the Great Fire of 1900 in the lumber industry, and then the Parliament buildings at various different times. So we really tried to take a look at the downtown core of Ottawa, some of the buildings that were lost, some that were kind of rebuilt, some that were never rebuilt, and how it really shaped the evolution of the city downtown, but also how it kind of informed development of like new bylaws that kind of changed industries as a whole.
The next one is the new community gallery display, right? Yeah. This is two local artists, I guess, that have worked together in conjunction with each other.
There are a couple, yeah, actually. Okay. So it's Gary Blundell and Victoria Ward, and actually, so the community gallery is kind of open for anyone to use. They apply to us.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A great space for the community, either artists or photographers. We've had embassies use the space, historical societies. There's about a 2-year waiting list because it is a free space in right at the heart of downtown Ottawa. But Gary and Victoria have created a really excellent exhibition called Sourcing the Canal, which is a series of paintings that kind of explore how resource extraction has affected the area that feeds into the Ottawa River and the Rideau Canal.
You have your renewal project as well, right? In the permanent gallery. That was something you and I have spoken about before, but excited for everybody now to finally see it. What was the reason behind the renewal project?
So the renewal project was really a way for the museum to work at decolonizing the narrative within the museum. So we've been working with community members from Kitigan-Zibi and Pikwakanagan First Nations for many years now. And before COVID, we were looking at exploring kind of renewing the narrative within the museum, reviewing the text presented within the permanent gallery, and actually being closed allowed us to kind of tackle some of those projects that we didn't otherwise maybe have like on the front burner. And so we were able to leverage some funding to renew those panels, translate them into Anishinaabe-Moan, so now we have trilingual text panels, and engage with an artist collective to do a series of murals throughout the museum as well.
Yeah, and that artist collective was from Kitigan-Zibi, was it not?
Three sisters, Emily, Claire, and Mary Bracapay. Yeah.
You held an inauguration as well that brought Indigenous community into that space to celebrate this on May 2nd, I believe it was. What was that like?
It was honestly, it was fantastic. It was very touching. We wanted to have time for the community to experience it and to help us kind of launch that renewal project before the general public. So we had the artists, they had their families and friends. We had about 50 members from the two closest Algonquin communities. Chief Dylan White Duck from Kitigan-Zibi gave remarks, and then we had traditional song and drumming by Kevin Lamar from Pikwakanagan. So it was a really fantastic event. We got a lot of positive feedback, made a lot of great connections, had some refreshments and snacks and lots of good discussion. So it was really important for us to kind of have that community involvement and buy-in before we kind of launched to the general public.
I mean, you mentioned the museum, what dates back to 1898, was that right?
That's when the Women's Historical Society started, yeah.
So they must have a lot of artifacts and a lot of historical pieces, and the museum's not big, you know, I've been there. So where is everything stored, and how often do you rotate all of these things?
Right, so we have about 5% of our artifacts on display at any one time.
Wow.
It's actually pretty standard across the museum sector, but the rest of our collection is stored out at the Diefenbunker. So we like to joke that if there's nuclear war, at least the collection will survive. So that's why we do these temporary exhibitions as well, is to rotate artifacts, bring out pieces that people won't have seen for a number of years, or maybe not at all. They've been stuck in vaults for decades, and it allows us to rotate things for like conservation purposes, so things aren't getting worn and faded unequally.
Operating hours, let everybody know when you're open these days.
So as of now, we're open Wednesdays through Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And general admission's just $8. We've got a great audio tour that can go along with that. We have a good family rate. We've got a revitalized boutique and a membership program. And actually, we have a goal of gaining 200 new members this year, and we're already up to 50. So we're pretty excited about that.
Excellent news. Grant, great to catch up with you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you can find out more information as well. By the way, the website is fantastic. It's a wonderful resource, and so much history in there. Bytownmuseum.ca for the website. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this. Don't go anywhere.